Do you remember growing up as a little kid? Mom and dad finally let you have your own room. One day you were at a Kmart or Bradley's or whatever store existed back in the day. And you somehow convinced them it would be a good idea to stick glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Then you'd have your cousin or your friend or whoever come over, and after a cool day of playing basketball, hanging outside, skateboarding, you'd come back, have a pizza and a Coke, and be like, hey, come check this out. Get back to your room, shut off all the lights, bam! The entire Milky Way galaxy would blind them so bad they'd show up to school next week wearing glasses. Well, today, we're gonna do something a little bit similar. But before we get into talking about a bunch of little light up noodles we're gonna make into stars, if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Sheikh the Geek. Search that, minus the spaces, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and wherever else I am so you can leave me likes because you know, I seek validation too. Thank you, by the way, for 100 plus subscribers. We made it, 100 geeks in the building. Giveaway for that Tautronics Bluetooth speaker starts now. Just head over to my IG and you have 3 chances to enter. Like my last picture for 1 vote, comment for another, and share for the 3rd. So bam, 3 choices to win a dope Bluetooth speaker. I'll let it run for about a week, then put the winner on my story and get it shipped out to one of you as soon as possible. Thank you so much again. Fiber optic is absolutely everywhere, from telecommunications to medicine to robotic vision, even in toys and Christmas trees. Where you don't think you might find it, it's definitely there. But how does it work? Well, the goal of fiber optic is to transmit data through light over long distances minus distortion because no one likes when things are distorted. Here's a quick breakdown of fiber optics. You have to understand the principles of refraction and total internal reflection. Refraction occurs when a light ray passes from one medium to another. As it crosses that boundary, the light ray will bend. The angle of this bend is determined by the difference in the index of refraction of these two mediums, which is governed by the equation n sub 1 sine theta sub 1 equals n sub 2 sine theta sub 2, where n represents the index of refraction and theta represents the angle of the incident and exiting light ray, or Snell's law. Y'all got that right?
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Here is a cup of water, and here is an Apple Pencil. Refraction is the visual distortion you see when a pencil gets dunked into water. When light goes from air to water, the light bends, thus showing the pencil looking like it was split. I hope the Apple Pencil's still gonna work. The refractive index of air is smaller than that of water. If there was another medium that the light hit in the water with a lower refractive index, such as air, the light would again refract out of the water as long as its angle of incidence is below its critical angle. The cool part comes when the angle of incidence is above the critical angle, because this then causes the light to reflect back into the water. This is called total internal reflection, or TIR for short. After a bunch of cool people like John Tyndall, Alexander Graham Bell, and others played with this concept, we finally figured out how to use the idea of TIR and apply it to fiber optics. Again, the goal of fiber optic is to utilize this idea of total internal reflection to bounce data through light over and over and over again through these cables. Today I'm not transmitting data, but I am going to transmit the light by installing a star ceiling in my car, similar to what you might see on the headliner of a Rolls Royce. And I'm going to show you how to do it. But first, you know this video would be absolutely nothing without some buttery b-roll of the car and the finished product. Let's just roll it. get fiber optic cables from? Well, easy, where you get everything else. Pull out your laptop, go to Amazon.com, links in the description as always, and just click buy now, because you're buying something that transmits light and data so fast it'll instantly appear in front of you as soon as you close your laptop, but the results may vary. In the box, you'll find a bunch of fiber optic cables and a motor. Don't be like me and buy the wrong motor. The wrong motor doesn't twinkle. And since we're putting stars in the headliner of our ceiling, we want to make it look as realistic as possible, so make sure you get the Twinkle motor. The wrong motor will be black, the correct one will be silver, so make sure you get the Twinkle motor. I've linked the correct one in the description. Just click on it, click buy now. That's the correct motor, because then what's going to happen is you're going to install all the fiber optic like I did, and then you're going to realize when it's time to reinstall the ceiling you don't have the right motor. Then you got to reorder it on Amazon and hope it comes in time so then you could put it back in your car. It's just a mess. You don't want to get into that. Buy the right motor. I linked it in the description. You'll get 2 power cables, one that you can plug into an outlet if you want to do this for your home install, and you'll also get one that plugs into your cigarette lighter. So the power goes into the motor. You'll get this little remote here, and then once you turn it on, the motor will start activating. This little bunch of fasteners act like a clamp to keep all of the fiber optic cables together. Then all you do is secure it to the motor, and because of that total internal reflection going on, the light keeps bouncing down the fiber optic cable until it reaches to the end. And since the light at the end of the cable is meeting the air, we get that refraction of light. Let me show you how to install this. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is this. We've got pillars here. This is tan. We've got another one that side. That's tan. That's tan. That's tan. And this entire headlining is tan. So basically what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna head over to Joann's Fabrics right now and try to get some black material. And hopefully I'll be able to install it easier. Because what's gonna happen is that if I don't have a black headliner, I fear that the fiber optic ceiling won't look as good. I kind of want it to look like we're looking into outer space. So let's head over to Joann's Fabrics right now, get over to my dad's crib, we'll see how all this turns out. When you think of stars, you think of twinkling stars in outer space. You know, it's black. The universe is black, and it's just twinkling stars anywhere, and that's what makes it appear so bright. And I wanted that feel inside of the car. You know, a lot of Rolls Royces that you see, it's a tan interior at the top. I wanted to do this a little bit differently and make it a black headliner so those stars really pop. As far as your eye can see, there's just different types of fabrics everywhere. Look at this, nuts. So I ended up getting about 6 yards of this headliner fabric. It's gonna cost around like 80-90 bucks. And before we go, definitely need one of these. Luckily for me, they had black car headliner inside Joann's Fabric. It made it a lot easier, but man, that was the first time I ever went inside Joann's Fabric.
$124.43.
Thank you. $124 for all of this here. But star headliner is gonna be super dope. Let's get over to my dad's house. Gonna be my big helper for the video. So what are we doing, Imti?
We're putting stars in my Uncle Yao's ceiling.
So you ready?
Yeah, let's go. So this is the stars in this box. And this is the hot glue gun inside this bag. You were never prepared with the two.
This is too big. I'm taking off the headliner. You know, to take off the headliner in a G35, it starts with the visors. So there's like 2 clips that are held in with screws up there. So you take the visors out, and then as you can see, you know, I'm pulling out the weather seal around the door. And once you pull out the weather seal around the door, where the seat belt is, there's a bolt in there. And man, the passenger side, you know, it came out like nothing. But my side, the driver's side, oh my God, you'll see it inside the video how long it took me to get this damn bolt out. It took so long to get the bolt out. But anyway, you see, I finally got it out. There was just a couple more clips in the back of the headliner, was able to pop it out and then put it on the driveway, and then we started to redo the headliner. So The first thing we had to do, which I didn't show here, was we had to actually take off the original fabric that was on there. What would happen is that, or I feared, you know, this might happen too, is if you put fabric on fabric, there's the potential that the adhesive might not stick to it, and over time it might drop. And I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to do it one time. I didn't want to go back in this and do it again. I wanted to do it right one time. So I ripped off the original fabric, you know, cleaned it with a little bit of alcohol and so on. That way when we laid the black headliner back on and we put the adhesive, it would stick correctly. I feel really bad about this. I'm so sorry, MT. I did not know that it was about to rain, and I'm so sorry because as you can see, I had got a little bit of the adhesive on my finger. When I went to spread the headliner, a little bit of the adhesive got on it. So I had to rush inside to go wash my hands because I didn't want the adhesive to dry. It was the first time I was doing it, so I didn't know what I was in for at the time. So I didn't want it to dry, so I hurried up and went inside. I told MT to watch the fabric, and you'll see what happened to him. I'm so sorry.
You stay there. I'll go get it.
No, hold that. Don't make a fire.
Get an umbrella, quick.
He's such a good sport. Like, no matter what, MT is so loyal to me. If I told him not to move, like, he would make sure that headliner did not blow away no matter what. I can't thank him enough for all that he does for me. He's such a funny little kid. So anyway, started raining. We took the headliner back in the garage, started smoothing out the fabric with a little like squeegee type of tool, get all the air bubbles out. It wasn't perfect. It didn't look perfect at first, but when I did this video, this was before COVID even existed in the world, and over time that kind of settled, so you can't really notice a lot of the defects in the headliner. So anyway, we ended up finished wrapping it. I did the 2 pillars in the front of the car. I didn't do the back. It was just too hard to get that out, and nobody looks back, you know. I mean, my car is old. It's a 2006. I'm just doing like a pretty cool mod to it. If this was like my brand new car, I probably would have taken the time to take the rear panels out too and wrap those in the fabric, but the front makes it look perfectly fine. You know, I was really happy with the way it turned out, and it wasn't even too hard to do the headliner. If I had to do it again, I could probably do it a lot quicker and a lot better. So the next thing I had to do was come up with some sort of design. Being that this was the first time I did it, I just kind of put random dots everywhere. But if I could give a tip on how to do this for the future, when me and my friend, he was the one that was driving my car while I was getting the roller shots of it. We had about 500 or 550 strands for his starlight ceiling when we did it. Instead of just randomly putting holes everywhere, I divided his headliner up into I think 6 compartments, and then I did, you know, however many strands it was, whether it was 500 or 550 divided by 6, and each little box had the same amount of fiber optic strands. So mine turned out perfectly fine. But if you wanted to take that extra step, which I definitely would recommend and would do in the future if I did this again, I would definitely put a little bit more thought about where each of the strands were going. This is so inefficient. I used a safety pin, and then I took one of MT's Legos and hot glued the safety pin inside of it because my fingers started hurting. I poked 500 holes with this safety pin. Don't do that. The second time you do it a lot better than the first time. When we did his headliner, we had a drill, and we had, I think it was a 16th drill bit, and we actually drilled holes into the headliner. Came out a lot more cleaner than this. If I'm gonna recommend advice on how to do this properly and in the future, I would recommend doing it that way. Pull enough length through the headliner so you have enough to work with. After you put the fiber optic strands through the headliner, you gotta secure it somehow. The best thing to secure this with is probably hot glue. It dries within like 10 to 15 seconds. And let me tell you that it gets crazy. You have to have a lot of patience for this type of work.
Alright guys, so this is what we're left with on the other side of the headliner. So this is all the excess fiber optic that's sticking out. So all we're going to do is we're going to go in, it's like nail clipper scissors here. It gets really close to the other. Snip, snip, and we're just going to keep doing that until all the excess fiber optic is gone, and then we're going to have a star ceiling.
So remember, we talked about before the total internal reflection. Remember, that light is going from the motor, it's bouncing back and forth. There's just light bouncing back and forth through this fiber optic strand. So it has to end somewhere, and it ends where you snip the fiber optic on the other side of the headliner, the side of the headliner that you'll see, and that's what you call refraction.
Alright, well, so far this is what it looks like. I don't know why it looks like a giant 6 in the middle, but yeah, we're gonna just fill in all these blank spots here tomorrow. Job well done so far though.
Where you see the gaps in the headliner, that was due to like insulation that was on the other side that I didn't take out, but I ended up having like maybe 80 strands left over, so I was able to fill all those gaps in and really close it up and make it look like a complete fiber optic star ceiling.
This is day 2.
But before I went to bed, I noticed that the motor that I had, it wasn't a twinkle motor. It didn't have any settings to twinkle, and that was the whole point of the star ceiling. You know, stars in the sky, they twinkle. You know, that's what gives it that's what makes the Rolls-Royce ceiling so satisfying to look at. You know, when you go to Best Buy, you see all of these home theaters, and you look up at this fiber optic ceiling, they all have twinkle motors, and it looks really great. Some of them even have shooting stars in the ceiling, which would have been awesome to put in this car, but we'll get to that another day. Maybe when I do it for inside of the house, I'll try to figure out how to do that, because I do plan on doing a fiber optic ceiling inside of my house also. Luckily, I realized that at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was able to order the Twinkle Motor, which I showed you in the beginning of the video. As soon as the sun set, the Twinkle Motor came in, so it was really just plug and play. You take out the old motor, you put it back in, no big deal at all. I didn't get footage of me reinstalling the star ceiling. I mean, after maybe like 12-13 hours of work on this already, you know, it was so hard to focus on setting up the camera, so I didn't get the install of putting it back in, but it's literally the reverse. The hardest part for me was getting the headliner back in the car, because it is a 2-seater. So anyway, we got it back in, was able to zip tie and secure as much of that fiber optic mess that you saw inside of the headliner so it didn't go everywhere. And what's funny is, luckily, that wasn't even too bad at all. Putting back the headliner is just taking it out in reverse. You start in the back, put the clips in, and then you put back in the seatbelt bolts, and then you put in the 2 visors in the front, and then you just push the clips up all around, and then your headliner is back in. Okay, so we just finished the fiber optic ceiling, and MT, you want to show them what it looks like?
Yep.
Hit it. Oh yeah. How'd you like it?
Good.
Came out good? If you look back there, that's the brains of it all. So those are all the fiber optic strands back there. And if you can see, that's the power box right there. That's the brains to it all, just held on there by some...
And that's the box that makes all these twinkles.
That's the box that makes all of it twinkle, like MT said. And all the fiber optic goes into the headliner, and then each individual one of these, I mean, you guys saw from the other part of the video, they're all individually poked on there. No, I just think it looks cool. And a lot of people probably won't want to do it that way, which I completely understand. You know, if I had a new car, I probably wouldn't want to do it that way either. Maybe I'd probably hide it, but you know, in this case here, I really liked how it looks. So me and MT, you know, we put it on. We were so excited about it. You know, we went through the different colors. There's blue, there's orange and red, there's white, there's purple, there's a fade, there's music modes, there's a flash mode. There's so many different modes for this. Rolls-Royce charges $12,000 to do this. And I mean, the fact that, you know, just a weekend and about a little over 200 bucks can get you the same result, if not even better, in my opinion, because, you know, it's a black headliner. I enjoyed it so much more better than looking at videos of the Rolls-Royce. I mean, it's definitely worth it, for me at least. You know, it's not going to be for everybody, but, you know, if you want to show off to some of your friends and show them you got something cool in your car, this is there's not many people that have fiber optic star ceilings in their car. It takes a lot of patience, but it's so worth it. The end result is so worth it. Every time I'm inside my car, sometimes I'll just be at a stoplight and I'll just look up. I'll look up. It's cool, you know, people like it, you know, it's that feeling. It's that feeling, like I said before, when you were young and you were growing up and you put all those glow-in-the-dark stars on your ceiling, and you brought your friend or you brought your cousin over and you just turned off all the lights and you saw the look on their face and like, wow, the galaxy is in my room. Well, the galaxy is now in my car and I absolutely love it. So yeah, me and MT did a good job, and I'm so happy that he helped me out with this project. Did you have a good time?
Yeah!
Alright, I had a great time too. Let me know what y'all thought about the installation. Do you think I did a good job? Do you think I did a sucky job? Do you think it looks cool? Do you think it doesn't? And would you ever want a fiber optic star ceiling in your car? Maybe in your house? Let me know down below in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more cool content. My name is Sheikh the Geek. Thank you so much for watching.
We gonna make it. Hey man, blown out tire, we're here.
I'm putting this video, bro.
Hell yeah, man.